A landmark deal to deport grooming gang rapists to Pakistan has been called into question after Britain lifted a 5-year ban on a Pakistani airline. Last month, the People's Channel revealed that grooming gang deportations were raised by Foreign Office ministers with Pakistani representatives, including at high-level meetings attended by Foreign Secretary David Lammy and FCDO Minister Hamish Falconer. Whitehall sources said that Pakistani representatives had called for Pakistan International Airlines, or PIA, to be permitted to fly to Britain again, in exchange for accepting deportees. However, the deportation plan was seemingly written off today, after the British High Commission lifted the ban on Pakistan International Airlines without a confirmed deportation deal in place. Lifting the ban allows direct flights between the two countries to resume. Britain banned the airline from flying in 2020 amid concerns over the Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority's compliance with international safety standards, after a PIA plane crash killed 97 people. Keighley MP Robbie Moore, who previously demanded a full inquiry into the grooming gang scandal in Britain, told GBNews, if the government has restored these flights without securing any guarantees, then it would be a disgraceful failure of diplomacy. This is also a double-edged scandal. Not only is the Pakistani government refusing to accept the return of foreign nationals convicted of heinous crimes, but when convicted offenders flee to Pakistan before their trials, authorities there seem unwilling or unable to locate them. He continued, "In my own constituency, 2 men were convicted of raping a 13-year-old girl. They absconded before sentencing and are now believed to be in Pakistan, and I have no confidence that authorities there are doing their bit to help locate them to face justice." Moore concluded, "This whole situation is unacceptable, and the government must get real, apply proper pressure on the Pakistani authorities, and help give victims the justice they deserve." GB News first outlined in June that Pakistani ministers raised concerns that the first grooming gang deportations to Pakistan in over a decade could open the floodgates. PIA's removal from Britain's air safety list comes just months after the European Union Aviation Safety Agency lifted its ban on the airline from operating flights to the bloc. Although several private Pakistani airlines operate domestic and regional flights to the Middle East, PIA has historically been the only carrier to operate long-haul flights to Britain and the EU. The airline estimated an annual revenue loss of around £107.4 million due to the ban, following the loss of direct routes to London, Manchester and Birmingham. PIA's spokesman said the airline was finalising preparations to resume UK flights in the shortest possible time and had submitted its proposed schedule. If restored, PIA could conduct 3 weekly flights on the Islamabad-Manchester route. Independent MP Rupert Lowe, who has launched a petition to the government to collect mandatory data from child sex offenders, told GB News, "We don't need to make deals with the Pakistani government. We need to deport the Pakistani rapists and their foreign accomplices. If they don't like it, tough. Cancel foreign aid, suspend visas, tax remittances, make it very uncomfortable for the Pakistani authorities. Do it once and do it brutally. We wouldn't need to do it twice." The revelation comes just a day after the government confirmed Pakistan is also deporting Afghans to Britain. According to the statement on the resettlement of Afghans to the UK following the Taliban takeover, the majority of those eligible for the scheme travelled via Pakistan. GB News understands that ministers are not directly involved in the decision-making process of the UK Air Safety Committee.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
GB News' Charlie Peters joined Cameron Walker and Dawn Neeson on GB News Breakfast to discuss the story.
Good morning to you. Are we getting anything in return for Pakistani airlines being allowed back to Britain?
Well, yeah, they're flying back, and I have to say that government sources really poured cold water on this story when we revealed it last month, but a few days later, everyone else had chased up our sources and confirmed what we'd found to be true. So the argument from what we've heard from Pakistan is that their ministers put forward this proposal that they would finally accept some deportations of some of the worst, the most vile abusers in exchange for this airline returning. It's been banned for about 5 years.
Why did we stop it in the first place?
Well, it had a security and safety issues specifically. There were issues, I believe, with pilots' licences being faked, perhaps. Lots of allegations around there about the airline safety. Now, the approval of the airline, we're told, is a completely separate and independent process. On the British side, there has also and always been a sort of pushback against this idea that there was ever possibly a deal. But we do know that the Pakistani side did push that forward. That's now off the table, leading to many to question what bargaining chips do Britain still have available to them to get some more deportations over the line. We do know from our sources in Whitehall that David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, and Hamish Falconer, one of his ministers, were extremely keen to push forward the deportation of 2 key Rochdale abusers as part of their visit to the country earlier this year. They wanted that done, actually, before Casey's audit, her review, came out last month. They couldn't get it over the line. So what is still on the table? Well, opposition figures and MPs have said that the government should now push further and say that if Pakistan doesn't accept the deportation of these abusers and other serious criminals, as well as not just grooming gang offenders who are still living or being kept in Britain after their sentences have concluded, then perhaps there are new measures that should be taken. So Tory and Reform figures are suggesting that aid could be suspended to Pakistan, or there should be visa penalties. Tens of thousands of Pakistanis still come to Britain on work visas or study visas or as dependents. And they say that if we're allowing that to happen, if we're giving Islamabad that option, why can't we do the same and say, no, let's not have that anymore until we get those offenders deported?
And has Labour responded to any of these calls?
They haven't. I don't think it's something that they want to do. I think it's highly unlikely we're going to see high-level battles between both sides on this issue. And one of the reasons for that is there was such a significant pushback from the Pakistani delegation when this was raised earlier this year by David Lammy. Now, we understand that the Interior Minister, the most senior Home Minister in Pakistan, told this Foreign Office team that they were concerned that if they accepted more abusers, then it would open the floodgates to several more to be deported. But of course, that's what we want. That's the point. That is literally the point. That is exactly what should happen. That's what it should happen according to the law in this country. But for so many reasons that we've spoken about so many times, ECHR, Human Rights Act, that's always been blocked, and people have been able to spend millions in legal aid, taxpayer-funded, to resist attempts to deportation.
And meanwhile, the victims are still walking the streets of these towns, bumping into the people that ruined their lives.
Precisely. It's a real travesty.
Gosh, well, we know you're going to be keeping up to date on this. Yes, Charlie, indeed. Thank you.
Charlie, thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, up next, it's a British newsroom. We've got to read something first, sorry.
Yeah.
Speaking for the Foreign Office and the Department for Transport, a government spokeswoman told GB News the decisions on delisting states and air carriers from the UK air safety list are an independent process overseen by the UK Air Safety Committee.
Following close engagement with the Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority over several months, the committee has judged that necessary safety improvements have been made since its original decision and has decided to remove Pakistan and its air carriers from the list.